Plus minus connection 3. Rewriting subtraction to addition. Previously, we learned that subtraction is equivalent to adding the opposite. So we'll be using that strategy to help us rewrite and solve these problems. Problem 1. 5 minus 9. What does this mean in terms of our chips? This 5 means we have 5 yellow chips, or 5 positives. And minus 9 means we're trying to take away 9 positives, 9 yellow chips. Now, how can I rewrite this into an equivalent addition problem? I can rewrite this as 5 and whatever's after the minus sign, I'm going to add in its opposite. So right now we're trying to take away 9 positives. So I can rewrite that as adding in 9 negatives. Or you could think of it as taking away 9 minus 9 is the same as having negative 9. Minus 9 is like having negative 9. Now that I've rewritten it, let's go ahead and solve this. 5 is like having 5 positives. Negative 9 is like having 9 negatives. And since we have opposite signs, we know they're going to cancel out. So each plus is going to cancel out with a negative. And we see that our final answer is going to be negative 4. Problem 2. Negative 7 minus 6. So what do these numbers mean in terms of our chips? Minus 7 is like having 7 red chips, or 7 negatives. And minus 6 means we're trying to take away 6 positives. So how can I rewrite this into an equivalent addition problem? I can rewrite this as negative 7, and I have, right now we're trying to take away 6, so that's equivalent to having 6 negatives. Minus 6 is the same as having negative 6. And now that we've written it, let's go ahead and solve. Negative 7 is like having 7 negatives. Negative 6 is like having 6 negatives. And since we have the same types of chips, we're going to count these up. 7 negatives and 6 more negatives, that's going to be equal to negative 13. Problem 3. 12 minus negative 5. What do these numbers mean in terms of our chips? This 12 means we have 12 yellow, or 12 positives. And minus negative 5 means we're trying to take away 5 red chips. How can I rewrite this into an equivalent addition problem? I can rewrite this as 12, and I have plus. Notice that whatever's after the minus sign, I'm going to add in its opposite. So we're trying to take away 5 negatives, so I'm going to add in 5 positives. The opposite, taking away 5 reds, leaves behind 5 positives. Now that it's rewritten, let's go ahead and solve. 12 is like having 12 positives. And plus 5 is like having 5 positives. So since these are all the same colors, I can count them up. 12 plus 5, counting up, I have a total of 17 positives altogether. Problem 4, negative 3 minus negative 8. So what do these numbers mean in terms of our chips? Negative 3 is like having 3 red chips, and I'm trying to take away 8 red chips. So now let's go ahead and rewrite this into an equivalent addition problem. We have negative 3, and we can write this as plus. Notice whatever's after our minus sign, I'm going to add in the opposite. So that right now we have negative 8 after the minus sign. So I'm going to add in 8 positives. The opposite of negative 8 is going to be adding in 8 positives. Now let's go ahead and solve. Negative 3 is like having 3 negatives. Positive 8 is like having 8 positives. Since we have opposite signs, we know that each negative is going to cancel out with a positive. So our final answer is going to be 5. And finally, our last problem, problem 5, negative 11 minus 4. What does that mean in terms of our chips? Negative 11 is like having 11 red chips. And minus 4 means we're trying to take away 4 yellow chips. So how can I rewrite this into an equivalent addition problem? I can rewrite this as negative 11 plus the opposite of positive 4 is like having 4 more negatives. Minus 4 is like having negative 4. Now that we have our equation, let's go ahead and solve. Negative 11 is like having 11 negatives. Negative 4 is like having 4 negatives. And since these are the same color of chips, we can just count them up. 11 negatives and 4 more negatives, that's going to be negative 15. To summarize, in order to write a subtraction problem into an equivalent addition problem, we know that taking away is going to be the same as adding in the opposite.